Hey guys, Rod Farva with Arcot Ramathorn from GrowPro Solutions. We're here to introduce you to the installation video of the single tier V-Track rolling bench, also known as the Ramrod. We designed these to ship really easy and also for awesome, easy installation. So we have our beginning bench, we have it labeled green. We've got our middle bench is labeled yellow, and our end bench is labeled in red. All right, so the first step, we're gonna get our wheel assembly. We've got all stainless steel wheels. This whole thing is made of solid stainless steel. We're gonna identify this as A01. We know that this is gonna be the first section for your wheel and also your last section because it has the holes to mount your handle. So we're gonna space these right about 8 feet apart. Arcot, come over here. Ah. All right, Thorny. So we have two different upright green. We've got a short one. These have 2 holes. We have a long one. These have 4 holes. We're gonna use the one with the 4 holes for your middle sections. And we're gonna use the ones with the 2 holes for your beginning and your end section. For these, we're gonna refer to our slope adjustment chart so that we can get the correct heights based on the length of your bench. All right, so as I have Thorny over here, he's gonna be screwing this in. I'm just gonna make a quick note. Definitely be careful with these threads, protect them, and then also, once you get it set, make sure that your nut is all the way to the top of the base here. That's gonna distribute the weight more evenly across your threads. Now that we got the slope adjustments added to the wheel assemblies, we're gonna move to the next step, which is gonna be attaching A02 to our leg assemblies. We supplied you with the 13mm nut driver. So we're gonna use this with this impact driver or a hand drill. Now we're gonna use the carriage bolts that are called L01. So we wanna make sure that we're starting with the installation of A02 on the beginning side. So line up the carriage bolt. You've got the square, you want the square to go in the square hole. And then you ram her in there. All right, so we got the A02s bolted onto the wheel assembly. Next step is actually gonna be to open up your middle box. And we're gonna get out A04. We're gonna use the bolts, L01, and we're going to ram them all the way through all 3 parts. A02, wheel assembly, A04. All right, so the next step, we're gonna use the part A03. This is actually fairly important. So if you come check this out, this side has a green end on it. We're gonna wanna make sure that this green end lines up with the beginning piece.
So your next step is going to be installing the cross beams. You're going to find them in your beginning bench box. It's your B01, and you're going to line them with the holes across from your A03. Now, be sure not to screw these in just yet, because you're going to utilize these cross beams to hold in place your aluminum tray holder.
Carriage bolt's gonna go up from the bottom. And we're gonna sandwich in the cross piece with the aluminum tray holder. So we got our aluminum side rail sandwiched down to our structure. We're gonna install the green corners onto the B03 width aluminum tray holder piece. I'm gonna make sure that the wider side is gonna face up, and this is gonna slide onto the bottom of the aluminum tray holder. We got our corners on, and now we're gonna slide it on here. So on this corner assembly, you wanna make sure this is your length and this is your width. You're gonna want it to slide in so that the width piece touches the edge of the length piece, and then your lengths will be correct. We're now gonna use the self-tapping screws, so we're gonna switch over to the 3mm nut driver. Here you go, Thorny. I'll show you the next step. This was actually a little tricky and kind of fun. We're gonna slide these middle connection pieces on, but we're gonna go all the way past. You'll see why when we get to the steps after. We're gonna go past there. So we're moving on to the middle section. Next steps we're gonna do, while Thorny over here lines up the A04 to the wheel assembly. There we go. I'm gonna connect this A02. So we're gonna sandwich the A02 to the A04 through the wheel assembly. This is the middle section. Make sure to use the green piece with the 4 holes in it. So now we've got those parts assembled. Next step, we're gonna take A05. We're gonna insert it into our green A05 holders. And we're gonna use the L03 bolts for this one. You do definitely wanna use the washer on this one. Next steps after that, we're gonna repeat the process of sandwiching the B01s along with the aluminum tray holder. So let's get those set up. All right, we're just about ready to start bolting, but it's really important that I showed you earlier that we slid on this green piece, connector piece, before we start bolting this down. All right, so now we have our aluminum tray holders and our cross pieces sandwiched down to the structure. But this is an important part. This is why before we install the middle section, because we're gonna slide this piece back over, center it. There's a little line right in the middle. You wanna center that line right with the crease of the, where the aluminum meets. Then we're gonna screw it in with the self-tapping screws. All right, so now we are going to continue with the end section. So the first step for the end section is gonna be connecting the A02 to the wheel assembly. And we're gonna use the carriage bolts from L01. We'll ram them in there. We're gonna screw these back down in there.
Keep in mind, these are the short ones.
Yep, with the 2 holes, because this is the end section.
And then basically just gonna repeat the steps. You're gonna be utilizing your A03s. Actually, Chuck, if you may.
Yep. Make sure to find the green section. We've got some green on here. Make sure to line those up into your end sections. Then we're gonna need the L03 bolts.
So if you're having trouble getting the holes to line up for this screw to meet in the bottom, what we did, you can loosen this A02. That'll give you a little bit of play, so that then you can get these in here. You can tighten yours up there, Mike.
Yes, sir.
So this is a really important step. Don't forget this. We are going to slide the trellis support holder onto the middle section.
All the way past, and then we can set our cross beams and sandwich them with the aluminum tray holder.
Use the L01s
To come up and sandwich these pieces together.
So as he's tightening those down,
Now we can slide this trellis support holder back over. Just have to finesse it. There we go. And then we want to make sure we get this little hash mark right in the middle to line up with the crease.
and then we'll use the self-tapping screws. We'll secure that to the aluminum.
Nice and tight.
Nice and tight.
Then we're going to secure these in with the self-tapping screws. So before we put in the trays, it's going to be logical. Let's install the GoPro Solutions Ramrod sissy bar handle. We're going to line those holes up with the carriage bolts, the L01s. You ready to put in the trays, Arcot Ramthorn?
Let's do it.
All right. We've got a 24-foot bench, so we're going to be using an 8-foot, 3 8-foot sections. We're going to have our high tray, our middle tray, and our low tray. So we'll put the drain on the far side from the handle. So we'll put the low down over there. You got the low down?
Yes.
This guy is going to be the high, so this is the first one that we'll put in. Next, we are going to install the trellis uprights, and then we'll put the tetraminos on, and we'll do the trellis cross poles. So on the B05, you're going to have 2 pre-drilled holes that are going to line up with the holes in the holders, and these are you're going to use a self-tapping screw, but make sure to line these holes up with the holes
In the support holders.
So, a really important step before we're going to put the tetramino onto the trellis support, we're going to want to remember to add our clips, because otherwise you'll just have to take it off to get the clips back on. So we have 2 clips per trellis upright.
So this is a special design. We call it the tetramino. It's designed to hold the struts to your guys' trellis supports. When you slide it in, make this last nut fit into the top hole of your trellis.
All right, and now we're going to start putting in our cross supports. You're going to want to watch. We have a pre-drilled hole that has a metal backing. for the self-tapping screw. You want to make sure you line this hole up with the holes where you can put the self-tapping screw in as you put the cross supports in. That one's in. Look for the holes, like right here. And then on these tops, actually the screw comes in from the top, so you want those holes facing upwards. All right, and the next step, we're gonna use the L02 self-tapping screws with the 3mm nut driver, and we're gonna attach all of the cross supports for the trellis system. So I've got my hole lined up here with the pre-drilled hole, and then we use the self-tapping screw. Lock that in. And these ones are gonna come from the top, and you're gonna wanna line it up with the 2 holes on the inside.
So there you have it. This is the fully installed version of GoPro Solutions stainless steel V-Track rolling bench system, aka the Ramrod. If you take a quick note at the bottom here, it's actually not sitting on a V-Track system just yet. In fact, if your facility's floor lands flush, you don't necessarily need those added accessories. However, if your facility demands a 40-foot bench, we highly recommend you utilize the V-Tracks and the Ramrod Sissy bars to ensure smoother transition. If you guys have any more questions, please reach out to your local sales rep at GoProSolutions.com.